Everybody, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and today my special guest is JP Clement, who's based in Albuquerque, and he's the CEO of Boomtime, which is a digital marketing agency. Welcome to the show, JP. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I am, Scott.
Awesome, sounds great. All right, so let's go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about your background and how you first got into marketing and digital strategy.
Yes, so I have about 34 years of experience in marketing. I started like everybody else, given, that was a long time ago in the traditional CPG, consumer packaged goods marketing, very traditional out of General Mills, and then made my way in the digital world, switching to direct marketing. Back in the days, that was with what we call now snail mail. Did a lot of database marketing and things like that. Then got into the digital space in 1998 with Ticketmaster Online City Search, and then stayed there because I really loved it and thought it was really some of the most interesting marketing I had ever done. And grew, my expertise, skills, my responsibilities. Did more and more strategy, and worked with a lot of different companies, going from huge multinational Fortune 100 companies to startups, and did quite a bit of product management and product innovation in the digital space as well, because that's kind of an offshoot of marketing. So I've kind of done it all in marketing, especially in digital marketing.
Yeah, sounds like that's a lot of experience for sure. All right, so if we fast forward then to at the moment, tell me a bit about your agency Boomtime, what services you provide to your customers, and if that includes funnels as well as websites.
Yes, it does actually include both. So we're a digital marketing agency, but we really focus on word of mouth. Sorry, and because word of mouth is work especially well for the kind of companies that tend to become our clients, which is mostly in the B2B space. Although we have some B2C clients that have whose customers have very high lifetime values. So we focus, if you want, on smaller addressable markets. So in the thousands as opposed to the millions, like a typical B2C companies. And we focus on word of mouth marketing because that's what works best. But as part of our, digital marketing packages, we include a lot of website building or website enhancing. So that works very much in coordination with our word of mouth marketing campaigns.
Okay, cool. All right, so introducing yourself, how many team members do you have?
We have 29, I think, as of today.
Oh, okay, it's quite a large team then.
Yeah, no, it's a good sized team.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we've we're hiring all the time because there's quite a bit of turnover and in our industry.
Okay.
As a new CEO, we I've put some things in place that are generating more business, and that's why we need to hire. It's a good time for digital marketing, especially for B2B companies.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so how do you approach calculating or reporting ROI to digital marketing, including also the accuracy of the data?
Yeah, so that's something that I've spent a lot of my career in marketing trying to figure out, especially when I started doing social media marketing at an agency in 2006. It was not even called social media marketing at the time. And the challenge was to determine the ROI of the campaigns we were doing for our clients. And so I've kind of carried that work and those projects over to other agencies that I even started myself or worked at, like Boomtime. And so we do spend quite a bit of time thinking and trying to calculate the ROI of what we do for our clients. And it's not necessarily easy all the time. The beauty of digital marketing is that you can measure a lot of it, what you do on your campaigns pretty easily. But you get a lot of data. So the trick that I've realized is that you really need to pick the right KPIs for your clients, and every client is slightly different. So the same KPIs might not work for another client. So what we typically do is we establish what the KPIs are for our clients and what the targets within those KPIs are at the beginning of the campaign, and then we track versus those KPIs, which allows us to verify that we're doing the right job and a good job, and then also allows us to calculate an ROI. So we do, for instance, a lot of LinkedIn campaigns, and the way we calculate the ROI on LinkedIn campaigns is that we try to create connections and drive leads to the top of the funnel for our clients. And what we do is that when we start a project with them and they do a LinkedIn campaign with us, we ask them what the value of a really good MQL, or market qualified leads, is.
Okay.
And we tell them, okay, if it's a good lead, what's the value? If it's a not so good lead, what's that value? And then we ask them to go sort through all the market leads that we give them, and then then we know what the value that we give them is, and then obviously we know how much we paid for our services. So it's pretty easy in that case to calculate some ROI. But we also do a lot of content marketing that we distribute via email, via LinkedIn, via other sources, and those are a little bit harder to quantify. Although, because we have a lot of data about our email campaigns, we can see pretty quickly, what kind of engagement we're getting with the emails. Are we generating new leads? Are we nurturing leads and moving them down the funnel for our clients, which is something that we do a lot of. Although we focus on the top of the funnel, we can get their leads down from MQL to SQL, to sales qualified leads too. So that's how we measure it mostly.
Yeah, because I guess at the end of the day, the cost of your services is really irrelevant. It's the ROI that the customer is really interested in, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, I think we undercharge some of our clients because we're showing them ROIs of 500%, 1100%. So yeah, you're totally right. At some point, it makes the cost of per acquisition really, really low for them, and therefore, the ROI is what matters. I mean, the cost of acquisition or the ROI, not really the cost of our services. But we pride ourselves on being very efficient, and we have built our own systems for that, so we can actually price our campaigns at prices that are affordable for small and medium-sized businesses, which is really our target market.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, so in your opinion, why should digital marketers be obsessed with analytics?
That's a question that we could talk about for hours, literally, because analytics have been one of my passions and pet peeves since the beginning of my marketing career. Okay. So I really believe in analytics, and so what I tell people in general, like, there's one very simple reason why you should really focus on your analytics in digital marketing, any kind of marketing, but especially in digital marketing. It's because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So if you don't have analytics, there is no way you can talk about whether your campaign is successful, whether you're reaching your objectives, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't know anything about your analytics. But a lot of companies don't really know how to read their analytics. Digital marketing generates a lot of data, but the problem is how to interpret that data.
Yes.
So I've been on the client side, but also on the agency side for a long time. And on the agency side, what I've tried to do is educate our clients as to the value of data, but also how to interpret that data. And what we do at Boomtime is we spend a lot of time on analytics, not only to monitor our campaigns, but also to report to our client the results of our campaigns. And what we try to do is create stories and around the data that we have. So instead of inundating a client with bunches of data that we have and we do gather, we interpret that data for them and educate them as to the value of the data, but also what the data says about their business in some cases, or specifically the campaigns that we're running for them.
Okay. So do you use Google Analytics to measure it, or do you use another system?
We use a bunch of different systems because our campaigns tend to be pretty varied. So we use a lot of email marketing analytics. We have built our own platform internally at Boomtime that allows us to run campaigns, but also to track the results of these campaigns. We do actually incorporate Google Analytics, Google Ads, stats, and all that kind of stuff into our platform, so we can then send it back to our clients. We look at all kinds of analytics because of what we do, we do something called Mailbox Mining, where we actually look at your inbox as a client and extract with an AI process that we have the kind of email addresses that make sense to follow up on. So it becomes like a lead generator, but then we feed that into the rest of our campaign. So we have a lot of data coming from that as well. I mean, we have like probably a dozen plus streams of data that we try to get into our own system called Fuse, and then be able to manipulate and then regurgitate to our clients.
Okay, sounds super cool. Very advanced. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's as I said, it's a pretty big kind of passion for me, and so I've spent a lot of time thinking about it and doing a lot of things with analytics.
Well, that's probably one thing that would put you ahead of your competitors in a lot of ways. I don't think many other companies would specialize so much in the data or data, depending on how you pronounce it, as what you guys do.
Yes, actually, we think that this is one of our key differentiators. I mean, there's three of them. One is that Fuse platform that we built. Two is that the fact that we use data and analytics and science, also proven science, to inform our processes and the way we look at the data and our decision making on behalf of our clients.
Yeah.
And so, that's definitely something that I've been in many agencies. As I mentioned, I started a couple of my own. I've worked for other agencies, and it's really something that people say that they do, but they only skim the surface and really don't really dig into the meat of analytics and what it can do for companies, especially in the digital marketing space. So yeah, it's a big, I really believe it's a big differentiator for us.
Cool, okay. All right, so tell us about one of your most successful marketing campaigns and why you believed it performed so well. I mean, you don't need to actually name the client, but have you got an example of a really effective marketing campaign?
Yeah, so no, we've done, interestingly, we've done some, we kind of fell into a very small niche of the digital marketing space, where we, and as I mentioned, we're more of a B2B company. I mean, we help mostly B2B companies, but we also have a couple of B2C clients, and one of them is actually a state organization or state department in Mexico, and we've helped them with their recruiting, and which is, so basically it's kind of a B2C campaign, but it's the lifetime value, or actually in this case the lifetime cost of the people we're trying to recruit is very, very high, and there's only so many people that you can talk to that might be a target market for that organization. And so we did a combination of all the things we do for every B2B marketing campaigns, but we really tweaked it to serve their purposes. So we just slightly repurposing the things that we do, but we've been working with them for 2 years, and with their recruiting numbers have dramatically changed, especially if it's a very challenging market for, I mean, I'll tell you a bit more. It's a state police organization, and it's a very challenging market for them, but we've done such a great job that they keep re-signing with us, and they've won awards for the campaigns within their sphere. The campaigns we did for them, their numbers have never been better, and so it's a combination of content marketing, word of mouth marketing. We've run some Google ads for them, Facebook ads. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of different elements that we managed to put in a holistic kind of package that works incredibly well for them. Any one of these elements in and of themselves would not work, but the combination, this integration of what we've been doing for them has been incredibly successful.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. All right, so we've already talked about some of these, but what are your favorite online tools and platforms that you use to run your business?
So, well, we built our own, so that probably tells you a little bit about what that means for what's out there. But look, we're a huge fan of the series of Google tools. So Google Analytics, Google Ads. We use Google Data Studio. I mean, what we like about them is that they're very well done. The UX, I'm kind of a specialist, is not really great, but They function really well. They do exactly what's supposed to do. They're super easy to integrate via APIs and connect and integrators into other tools that we may be using. And the best part, most of these tools are free, which, for a small agency like ours, something that you can really sneeze at. But we use a bunch of different tools. We use Asana, Trello. We use Balsamic for UX. I mean, we use a dozen tools, but Google is probably what we spend half of our time on, and then the rest is a smattering of things that are very, very specific needs.
Yeah, I see.
We're a big fan of G Suite and everything else.
Does that include Google Tag Manager?
Yes, so Google Tag Manager is technically free too, but yeah, so we do use we use Google Tag Manager a lot, and integrates obviously seamlessly into our campaigns.
Yeah,
we use Mailchimp for some of our email campaigns too, which is a great tool, very, very robust. Big fan of Mailchimp.
Okay, cool. All right, so what are some of the biggest and most common mistakes that you see your clients making?
Well, since we're talking about analytics, one of the big ones is like their under reliance on analytics, and and not setting very clear goals and numbers to track for their campaigns. We have very often we have to tell them what they should be tracking because they don't know and they're not ready to think about even tracking anything. But as I said, if you can measure it, you can manage it. So we will absolutely require our clients to work with us to figure out those KPIs. So that's one of the big mistakes. Another one that we've seen from clients, well, the mistake happened before they came to us, is this idea of like, oh yeah, digital marketing is easy. I have a niece or a nephew, the proverbial niece or nephew who just got out of college and they're really good at Facebook, right? And think that that's going to solve all their digital marketing problems. Not quite. So but trust me, it's interesting, especially in the small to medium sized businesses. We hear a lot of that, and that's a pretty typical mistake. Trying to cut corners and not really think about digital marketing as this really critical strategy for their business, and the fact that it's complicated. It's and something that you don't give away, you don't give to do to someone who doesn't have doing that for businesses.
Absolutely. All right, so what's the biggest challenge that you consistently have to face while running your agency?
Well, I think it's mostly in general, I guess like most businesses, it's managing people, right? I mean, in the end, although we've built all these tools and we have all this technology at our disposition, it's still a people business. And there's a lot of talk about marketing automation, but in the end, marketing is done by people. And although it's not purely an art and a very creative endeavor, it is partly, but you have to be very disciplined. You have to be, look at the analytics as we talked about. So finding the right people and with the right cultural fit is really difficult for us. We're a smallish company. We're kind of quirky. We have our own little things that some people might not work well with, and so that's difficult. But what I'm finding is that, and it's been true of all the digital marketing agencies I've either started or worked at, the biggest challenge is really to scale. And digital marketing at its core, marketing in general, is not a very scalable skill or expertise. You need, you get more clients, you need more people. So that's always kind of been a struggle. But at Boomtime, with the development of a platform, our own platform, Fuse, which we call a marketing as a service platform, we've really been able to simplify our processes, streamline them, make them way more efficient. And as a result, we can take on more clients and charge less, as I mentioned before, than some other agencies because of those processes and Fuse. And so, but still, it's a work in progress. Right? We're constantly improving Fuse. We're constantly improving our own processes so we can scale. And that's a big challenge, but one that I think we're tackling relatively well right now. Okay,
cool. What are you curious about or researching right now regarding digital marketing?
So we are constantly researching. I mean, we read my whole team and myself, we read constantly about digital marketing because it evolves it very fast,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit less fast than a few years ago when when I was starting in digital marketing, but still it's something that changes very rapidly. So we're constantly in research mode. But specifically in the past few weeks, we've spent a lot of time thinking about remarketing and retargeting and all the technology that exists around that. It gets pretty complicated. We can get into a rabbit hole of with those things, but we think that's something that we're not doing very well right now, and that could really help our clients. And so we're trying to figure out, what the best way to do that is and how we can integrate that into our products. And what we typically do is every time we try something and we do research, we test it on ourselves first. So I'm a client to one of my teams. We call it Boom Time. I'm a client, a Boom Time client.
Yeah.
And so we test everything on ourselves first before we're rolling out to our clients. And right now we're in the process of doing just that for remarketing, retargeting, depending on what you want to call it.
What are your thoughts on retargeting with, I've been hearing that people are clearing or deleting their cookies a lot and it's not as effective as it used to be. Do you think that's true, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, well, again, it depends on who these users are. But in the general public, I don't think a lot of people understand necessarily how cookies work, and how to manage them. In our world, maybe a little bit more sophisticated. So yeah, and it's true. I mean, it is happening to a certain extent, and it is affecting the ability to remarket and retarget. I mean, we do cookie if we build a website for one of the clients, we do cookie their users and try to use that for some more advanced techniques in marketing and in product management, like retargeting and remarketing. But yeah, it's an interesting, it's definitely one of the challenges and one of the ways that might prevent us from doing a great job. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So who are your marketing idols or the biggest influences in your career?
Well, I've had many, actually not many, but a small handful of mentors across my career, but a lot of them were actually back in the olden days. But there's one person that is not what I would call a mentor, but I really look up to and spend a ton of time on his blog and his website, which I think he does things incredibly well. He's also incredibly good at telling stories. Instead of talking at you, it tells amazing stories and has a an amazing way of writing. I'm assuming he writes most of the stuff himself. He doesn't have a team of writers behind him, but because there is a very specific style to what he does. His name is Patel. You probably know of him. He's kind of known as an SEO guru, but he knows so much about marketing, and I'm always in awe of the way he has of putting very, very complex concepts in very plain terms in a very interesting way, and also uses all kinds of techniques. But I've copied along the way because he does several things incredibly well. I highly recommend. I think it's neilpatel.com.
He's also a blogging expert as well, isn't he?
Yes, he's excellent at blogging. So he uses his own, basically, he does exactly for himself what he preaches and sells to other people. Will be the same way, but we do it at the Boom Time. He writes. He has an incredibly powerful and successful blog. But he also has a website that where you can buy some of his services. But the way he does basically the way he does SEO and his own digital marketing is fascinating and incredibly well done.
Okay, excellent. All right, so where can people go to find out more about your services and or your products?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Boomtime.com, BOOMTIME.com. And also you can find me on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time there. So it's my profile is at JP Clement. It's easy to find and to search for. And we publish our own podcast, so maybe I can return the favor and have you on our podcast one of these days.
I'd love to.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And we also do a lot of we have a pretty powerful blog. We write a lot of articles that might be of interest to our target market. So you can find all of it is reposted there under my my Boomtime account.
Excellent. All right. So thanks very much for being on the show, JP. I really appreciate that. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.